Obviously with this next expansion coming up, he's going to want to get that saturated. You'll notice he spiked all the way up to 31 drones just that quickly. Purple did come over here, put a little bit of harassment on Blue. Blue again does fly his buildings away like any good Terran player will. He does move his command center up here to his original base. He's now been in 3 different locations to continue what little mining he can do. Teal does have an expansion up and is now flying it somewhere. And he does have a few Thors here and a small flock of Marines, but nothing terribly strong. He does have one more Thor over here, just kind of hanging out, not sure what he's doing, and one that just finished. So again, looking for any types of expansions with these banelings. Definitely going to be able to do some heavy damage to any infantry, light units that they might have. Now you'll see him come in, obviously quickly takes out the Marines. Definitely not a good move to go after that Thor though. Thor being the armored unit, mechanical, it's mech. You're not going to do a lot of damage with those banelings. It's just not what they're designed to do. So let's go ahead and speed along here. Orange does come in, makes it into the base, just basically flying right by those Thors. The Thor has such a slow attack rate that not a whole lot he can do. Now what Orange is focusing on doing is just mainly economic damage. Trying to take out the Queen is definitely going to be a good pickup, as long as he's not able to spawn any larvae. Definitely loses that 150 minerals. Queen to me is worth more than 150 minerals just because of all of her abilities. He does kind of hang out on the top of the base. I'm not sure why that Thor didn't go finish those Zerglings off, as they are now just basically hanging out at the top of the base. Look at the production tab. We notice that Purple does have the 1 melee attacks on the way. Orange is also getting a Spire, and Red actually has his Spire as well. However, with all these Zerglings in here, he's really having a tough time keeping up with economy because the Zerglings are putting such harassment on his worker line. Purple going to go ahead and morph some more banelings. Probably not the best idea, knowing that Teal has all those Thors. That's probably not the way to go. Blue again decides to reconstruct his wall that he initially had. He does have another barracks up here, which he left with the reactor, pumping out some more Marines, but really based on the amount of minerals he has, he cannot fully utilize these 4 barracks that he has. Purple going to be coming in here looking to do some damage. Unfortunately, he runs into a slight baneling problem. Don't know what happened there. Don't know why he decided to continue to attack when he saw that type of force. Realistically, for all those banelings, let's just go back to take a look at the amount of banelings and the amount of units lost during that period. Right now we have what's that? 12 banelings from the red player. We have 23 Zerglings and 25 banelings. Definitely not a good trade. The only thing really that was efficient that he took out was his Queen. I mean, yes, he did destroy his entire army, but Purple also lost such a significant amount of units. If we take a look at the units lost, right now Purple's sitting at 3,300, Red's sitting at 3,100. Just watch those numbers spike up when both units, or both teams, lose their units. So he only lost 200, and he lost roughly almost 1,000, actually more than 1,000. So definitely not a good trade there, considering that Red lost well less than 1,000. I do decide it's time to go ahead and push out. I know that Blue was back on his original base, probably creating some SCVs, probably creating a small force, but realistically nothing that's going to be able to do a lot of damage. Now Orange with his Spire did go ahead and produce some Mutalisks. He's going to put on a little bit of pressure with his units. Definitely want to keep these Mutalisks flying around. That's one thing that a lot of players forget about, is they'll let their Mutas sit or let them just hang out around their base or just use them for defense. Mutas are harassment units, so if you have them, move them around your opponent's base, move them around your opponent's mineral line, and really try and put the pressure on and do some damage. You notice how many drones he was able to take out there with only this small group of Mutalisks, only 6 Mutalisks. That was definitely a humongous advantage that he allowed us to have. Purple goes ahead and moves out, but unfortunately with the move command, or the rally command, whichever he had there, he loses several Zerglings just by passing by that group of Thors. When he meets up with his fellow Zerglings, then he actually decides to come into attack. Now again, Orange finally throwing down his expansion. If we look at how many minerals he has, 600. At this point, he should be double expanding. Let's look at myself. I have 1,500. I should definitely have already expanded. Look at the purple Zerg player. He has 800. He should have expanded again. Don't ever consider yourself too far along in the game to expand. Obviously, we're ahead in this match, but don't ever consider it too much to expand. You should always be looking to throw down another expansion, even if you do have to worry about defending it. It's definitely never a problem to throw that down that extra expansion. Let's go ahead and speed things along here. Blue does go ahead and leave the game. I obviously moved into his base, did a lot of damage, took care of him. You'll notice red, obviously he's never been able to expand. His drones have been under consistent harassment. Really the only tech buildings that he has are the Baneling's Nest and the Spire. The Spire, he's never even produced any Mutalisks that I ever saw. Teal does finally get his expansion in place. Finally gets it landed over there. But unfortunately, with no drone or with no SCV transfer, you know, you're looking at least 20, 25 SCVs here that aren't moving. These 2 mineral patches, basically 300 minerals there, and they're just sitting. This command center is not producing any units. Anytime you're going to land a command center, you need to definitely start moving SCVs immediately. Even if the SCVs are going to long distance mine for one trip, they're going to get back over there and then get to work right away. Having this many SCVs in one spot, not actually accomplishing anything, definitely a target for the Mutalisks, even with the Thor here, and they're not mining efficiently whatsoever. The Thors do go ahead and move up here. They're going to try and do a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, with the amount of forces we have now, it's just not going to happen. So this match is all but over. With the amount of bases that we're on, the amount of mineral income that we have on 6 bases, Orange especially having this gold expansion. And one thing I want to point out is how many minerals he still has in his base. Now granted, he did transfer over his SCVs to this gold, or his drones to this gold expansion. But if we take a look at the income tab, 12 harvesters is all that Orange has. During this time, he's been producing obviously a lot of Zerglings, producing some Banelings, producing some Mutalisks, but definitely do not want to leave all those mineral patches just empty like that. Producing another flock of Mutalisks, but only on 12 harvesters. That's really quite low. So we'll move down here. Go ahead and speed this back up again. Move into Red's base. I believe Purple was able to take that out, or Orange was able to take that out, just due to the lack of defense. And these Thors are just going to go down extremely quickly, simply because it's such a huge force of Marines and Marauders at this point in the game. Thors just are not the right unit to go up against all that minor, small DPS that the great group of units do. So Teal obviously says that, you know, he's a little bit disappointed that his ally dropped the supply depot early in the game. I don't know that that was exactly the turning point. I think they could have come back, given the chance that they could have expanded, but with the continuous pressure from the Zerglings, it would have definitely been tough. So if we take a look at just how this game panned out in terms of rushing and who decided to tech and things of that nature, you know, obviously with the 2 Zerg players, they're definitely going to put on some early pressure from the rushing. The red Zerg player, you know, he threw down the early pull but didn't go for any early aggression, which is really unfortunate. The blue Terran player with those 5 wrecks, had he have had the opportunity to mass produce off of all of those, he definitely would have been a good contender in the game. However, since he was taken out so early from that one minor mistake that ended up costing him the game, it's the way it panned out. And then Teal producing mass Thors, probably not the way to go, simply because he was still only on 1 base. He had not expanded to the Island Expo. Just not enough income, not enough Vespene to produce mass Thors, especially out of, I think he only had 1 or 2 factories. So he's not going to be able to get out a sufficient enough army to deal with basically three other teams, three other players. So I hope you guys enjoyed this cast. I hope you were able to take something away from it in terms of your gameplay. Obviously, we're not high-level players. I assume if you're watching this, you're not a high-level player yourself. So hopefully you can, you know, get a little bit of understanding of the game, a little bit better knowledge of the game, and look forward to more videos coming up soon. Thanks for watching.